it.
Hey guys, welcome to Power Punch Productions Book Club Tier List. I'm trying to figure out a way to get the minions back into here, but I can't really. I can't really.
The real reason I derailed our previous conversation specifically was to get you off the minions.
We're gonna be ranking all the books we read in 2022. Did that real quick, so it doesn't really matter when we upload it. You know, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Big brain.
Yeah.
It doesn't date the video so much. Does anyone have anything they'd like to say before we get into this? To peel the cheeks away from each other and get into the meat and potatoes of the situation?
I love reading. It is my passion.
You got the certificate and the trophy and everything.
I did.
Yeah, maybe flash those again, just in case you missed the last
Oh yeah,
video.
hold on. Let me just drag these.
While you're pulling those up, just suggestion for how we should do this. Maybe like we'll just work backwards from the calendar. So like the most recent book we read we'll start with.
That makes sense. That way it's fresh.
Yeah, and then we'll just say we don't have to time ourselves or anything, but we can still have a short discussion about if our thoughts on it changed since we've read it.
Like I said, time to sit with it and kind of ruminate.
Yeah.
Let the juices just kind of digest.
Because admittedly, a lot of the early ones I've changed my opinion on since.
Gasp.
Really? That's kind of funny. 'Cause I feel like all of my opinions have stuck around. Like I'm pretty locked into how I feel about my thoughts originally.
Yeah, there's a couple of them I still we'll get there. But that's my only suggestion. We'll just have a short little talk about each one as we put it on there, and then at the end, if we want to rearrange the tier list, we can.
Well, in that case, the first one up would be Roadside Picnic.
Yeah, which I think I speak for all of us, and that's an easy S.
Yes. Maybe not top of S.
I would say maybe not top of S, but definitely like S. Mid to bottom tier S.
Yeah. Well, are you gonna disagree, Ryan?
No.
Okay.
I just wanted to sound like I might disagree.
We didn't. It's too unanimous.
Yeah. You gotta spice it out. Give it a little zazz. Give it a little salt and pepper.
I mean, it's also. I don't think it's much of a hot take to say that.
No.
It's like pretty consistently reviewed as one of the best books ever written.
And it's not. It's a 50-year-old book, so we kind of just recorded the episode where we talked about this, but in summary,
No, I'm playing.
I think we all kind of agree that it's probably one of the most well-written ones out of all the books we read.
For sure.
Oh, without a doubt. Like it's poetic. I would argue.
It's really up there with Well, I was gonna make a joke about Goosebumps, but that felt kind of mean because some of Goosebumps was actually decently. Yeah.
It's a children's book, and it was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
So it's really well written. I think philosophically intriguing, and also just outside of philosophy, there's just the content's just good. I think all of it lines up pretty well, and it deserves that S tier.
Yeah.
It's a very. It's like I genuinely can't think of anything I really have to say negative. Obviously, I'll be the first one to admit I'm very biased when it comes to this book. I'm a big
agree.
fan of the genre, but it is hard to like. There's not a lot going on where I would think it would be like a hard negative.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think it sits comfortably, perfectly, gently, softly, and nicely in S tier.
Exactly.
Next up, in that case, we've got Neuromancer.
TV static book.
I think it's somewhere between S and A.
That's funny because I was gonna give it low A tier.
Low A.
I was gonna say high A.
High A. Yeah, I think either middle or high A. So we can put it about the middle of A.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Is there anything we want to speak on that?
I mean, again, this being the one we did recently, there's not that much to add necessarily.
True.
My thoughts were. If you want to go back and watch the video, I think I
my
thoughts.
Yeah.
You can click the link for it right there.
I do
think,
feel bad that all three of us were like fucking dead when we reviewed that book. So
Yeah.
it's also like a lot of it's like we love this book, but I'm too tired to elaborate.
Yeah, the end of the year is just kind of rough. But
Yeah.
I think, in the nature of a tier list, I'm comparing it immediately to Roadside Picnic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Neuromancer's good. It is also still well written, but there was some writing choices I didn't really like in it. Like there's a lot of terms that it's just kind of there and are never really described or explained. And
Go ahead.
there's a lot of context to this book that I intentionally did not seek out, and it did definitely make it more difficult to enjoy on its own.
Mm-hmm.
It's still a great book. I still enjoyed reading it. I didn't actually finish reading it for the podcast, but I still finished it after we recorded it when I wasn't obligated to. So it was still a good book, but there was a few issues that kind of made it difficult to love.
It's also like interesting to compare it to how it's 70s 80s Western sci-fi versus Soviet, and how like the two compare and contrast.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's true.
Very cool. Not quite as it's not as layered as Roadside Picnic, but it's still very cool. Very, very much a vibe, and I think it fits very soundly and snugly in. I'll stick it right here in A tier for now, and we can rearrange it later.
It was not as philosophical either.
No.
Thinking about it, like there was philosophy, but I feel like it was a little bit more buried.
It was. I would say it's a lot less philosophy and more about like the human condition.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot more about Case and Molly and Armitage rather than like big sweeping grand ideals.
Like the idea of entropy from Do Androids Dream of Electronic Sheep. Do we want to do Carrie next, or do we want to do the Goosebumps? Since that was in the same month.
Did we rank the Goosebumps individually or as a group?
I'm thinking individually because some of the Goosebumps were better than others.
As a group, it actually, I would say it's like, as a group, I'd say like low B, C.
Yeah, but
one or two I would give like.
Well, let's just get into that then. Let me grab all of these little boys right here. In this case, quite literally. So there we have Say Cheese and Die. We've got Revenge of the Lawn Gnomes, and right here is Attack of the Mutant.
All right, so straight up, do we want to do Cheese, Lawn, Mutant?
Sure, we'll just do it in right to left.
Say Cheese and Die, I think high B.
High B.
It was gonna B as well for me. It was like it's a good solid, like it's good. It's
spooky. It was actually kind of
it was.
It was like a
maybe
genuine
not
horror.
Scary. It was. If I was 13, this would be scary.
Yeah, like obviously I wasn't.
It was
like
tense.
I was like, damn, this is.
It was
good horror.
definitely tense, and it's surprising because it's. I was tense over a book written for a child, which I think speaks volumes to the skill with which it was written.
Mr. Arstein.
Doesn't he have an award for people named R.L. Stein that he gives to himself every year?
Yeah, I think so.
That's pretty fucking funny, actually.
So we'll slide this into B right here. Excellent. Then we've got Revenge of the Lawn Gnomes.
F.
I'm hitting easy F. Like, not even a hesitation on that one. This one sucked.
F, I would say D, only because I think Mutant goes in F.
I disagree. I think Mutant goes D, Gnomes go F. Because the Gnomes, they're not getting revenge. The title sucks.
Yeah, that's true.
And
it's mostly, there's no, like, horror. It's just him getting in trouble with his dad, then the gnomes show up.
Yeah, the kids suck in Revenge of the Lawn Gnomes. Like, they're barely characters. They're just, like,
Mindy's okay. The older sister...
They have one character trait, and all three of them, their character trait is being annoying. It's just in different ways. Like, they're not really good characters. There's no revenge going on here. They're just mean lawn gnomes. They're not even evil. They're just mean.
Just dicks, yeah.
Yeah, and then they have an
what's
army.
Their goal? What is the revenge? What a great, like,
The ending's kind of stupid.
Yeah.
I kind of hate the ending.
And I think this is like the one that R.L. Stine has been like, yeah, I didn't do very good on that one, so I feel pretty good putting it in F.
Well, then we'll just drop it, plop it, and leave it right here in F tier.
And then we got the mutants, which I feel from the previous comment made is going to be another bit of a hot take.
I think it's either D or F. I don't think it can go much higher than that.
Yeah,
the kid in this one is annoying as fuck. I want to kick him down a flight of stairs.
I like the setup. I think the setup's actually pretty cool. Like, it's interesting. It's just the kid so fucking insufferable.
Cool. Setup's cool. The twist is cool.
The mutant's cool.
The mutant's kind of cool.
Bruce Campbell plays a part in the TV version. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, the kid, the main kid he's pretty annoying, and he's kind of the main, like...
He deserved everything he got.
That too. Well, the other two books, like, there's at least 2 or 3 kids that it focuses on. So even when you're kind of annoyed by one of them, you're having moments with other kids.
Yeah.
We don't get that in Attack of the Mutant, because he's just a dick to his friend.
It's all Skipper all the time.
His friend has a stamp collection, and he's just like a huge asshole about it. He's like, I don't want to see your stupid stamps. Yeah.
Stamps are cool.
He makes a friend on the bus, and he's just mean to her the whole time because he doesn't like the comic books that she's into.
Dumb, stupid girl comics, not the big manly man.
Skipper's the kind of guy to wake up in 2022 and tell me I can't put a female Space Marine head on a Space Marine. He's the kind of dude to try and dox me over female Space Marines. That's why I think it deserves to go in F.
But that said,
but if you guys want to put it in D, I guess.
I think D, just because I did laugh at it pretty hard. Just thinking about it later, I did admittedly think about Attack of the Mutant more than the other two.
True.
Just because there's the way the twist is set up, it's very comical. to think about later, the implication of it. And if you want to know what that means, go watch
go watch the video or read the book even.
Put it in D.
Kaden, what do you think, D or F?
I'm pretty strong on D. I think there was enough there that I did find interesting or like that I wouldn't, say it's irredeemable.
I suppose I'll relent.
I would put the kid in the F tier. Don't worry, I'm a good kid. It deserves the F tier.
Alright, well, speaking of kids, we've got Stephen King's Carrie, a book in which he describes kids quite a bit.
A little too much sometimes.
When you say it like that, it sounds terrible.
I know how it goes.
I think this one's at least A. Maybe S.
Yeah, easily. Like, I'm really not, I don't have much to say on this one because it's pretty,
There were some word choices in the version that I listened to that I wasn't stoked about.
Yeah.
But you can learn about that in the video.
But those have been removed.
Indeed.
Newer versions, which is
and it was also the 70s, but...
Yeah. Yeah, I guess below Neuromancer. I think maybe that's where I put it. Just because I'm kind of conflicted on Stephen King's writing.
Sometimes
he's not a bad writer, but sometimes the topics he chooses to focus on are a bit odd. And I think
cocaine talking.
Carrie gets away with it just fine. I mean, he's a male author, and he has to talk about teenage girls going through their periods and discovering body parts and stuff. But he does
Apparently
it well.
his wife advised him on most of that. Like, he wasn't even going to write the book, but then his wife was like, nah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and that's what I mean. This one gets a pass where other Stephen King maybe doesn't. But there's still some parts of it I was reading it, and I'm like, I don't know, man.
I don't know, dude.
I'm a little sus. I'm sussy Jack today.
I think A is pretty good for that one.
All right. We'll throw this collectively into A. Bada bing, bada boom. All right. That means next up is Gary Webb's hit classic. Get this for your mom, your dad, your grandmas, your grandpas. Dark Alliance.
This one was a ride.
I would put it in S if not for the fact that it's so goddamn long.
I would agree with that, but it's also like there's a lot to cover.
Yeah, no, and it's a lot of it's relevant. Like it's not like
There's
just
not a
a
lot of
long
fat.
fucking book. It's everything in here is important and connected.
I didn't finish this one, so I can't.
Me either. I got I got the gist of it. I kind of got the idea. I'm like, okay, and then it just kind of keeps going, and you're like, all right, I get it, and then it keeps going. You're like, okay, that's enough slices, to use a cheeky little reference to Anthony Fantano.
Little meme there. I see what
I believe
you
it's
did.
a 12-hour audiobook, and I listened to every goddamn minute of it.
I listened to most of it, but
it's rough, and it's just really depressing too, because it's like, yes, the government keeps getting away with this.
I feel like this one was probably, if there was ever a book I would listen to an audiobook for, it probably should have been this one, because I could not make myself read more than 100 pages of it. So just because I thought it was difficult to read, I would put it in B tier. I think it's an important topic. I think he probably did an excellent job collecting data and information and writing the book, but it does say something that I could not really make myself read it.
Which is fair.
But I also did not finish it, so you guys can pick the location, the letter.
I feel like if that's the case, then I think I feel like a strong A would be fair, because it is dense. Like it is a lot of book.
and
it's
it's
not something I'd recommend.
It's not bad. It's just a lot.
It's not something I would casually recommend for some light reading to a coworker.
I remember when I first picked up the book to read, I told my family about it, and I briefly described them, like, yeah, it's about the government's position in the whole cocaine boom. And they all just looked at me and they were like, okay. They changed the topic really fast. I was like,
giving this to my grandpa to ruin Christmas this year.
That would be pretty based, actually.
All right, this next book, we were supposed to have a little debate over with Mr. Greg Graffin, but he still hasn't gotten back to me. I even added him on Twitter. I'm actually thinking about adding Brian Baker to see if maybe he can help us out with that, since he seems to be more active on Twitter than Professor Graffin. But evolution in religion, where do we want to put that?
I'd say,
I think B.
It's an interesting topic. Yeah, I was thinking B or high C.
I think
it's good, but
low B.
It's very heady.
Yeah, and it's I don't know. I feel like I need to be more I feel like this would probably be more interesting if I was an evolutionary scientist.
Yeah, it's I missed the prereq class and I was just lost the whole time.
Yeah, it was still interesting even when I don't quite know all of the technical terms.
Yeah.
But it would have been probably more insightful if I understood more.
Indeed.
That said, there's some things that was in this book that I still think about a lot. I brought it up when we recorded the episode for this one, but one of the questions he presented for his study was about free will. And I just kind of think about that a lot, because I feel like free will is such a loaded phrase anyway. Yeah. So I still think about this one a lot. I'll be honest.
I think that is a good thing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Staying power is always something you should look for in a book like this, I imagine.
So I'm good with low B, since it was maybe a little outside of our
it was too big brain for us, and I can be the first one to say it. I'm not smart enough for this shit.
Was this the one where I had the hot take that I don't care about free will fundamentally?
You said evolution.
Yes, yeah. Evolution is fundamental, for me at least, irrelevant, and I thought that was an interesting thing looking back on it.
Yeah, which is, that's a take you can have, Kaden.
Yeah, you can have it. You can have it and hold it all you want.
That's what I needed. I need the spice.
Yeah.
But
okay.
No, I was just thinking on it.
Yeah, let's just throw it into B then. I think.
Yeah, low B.
It will be all right here in B. I also like to call out Epitaph Records. You're a punk label, but then you copyright flag us when I put one of your songs in the outro of our video.
Not very punk of you.
I think the label does that.
I think it's probably just automated. I don't think they actually did it. And we didn't get like struck or anything. And I'm sure that I was like, hey guys.
It was probably a robot.
I think you're exactly right. I just wanted to be. I just want. I'm trying to like make it a little funny, you know.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I kind of missed.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm just letting you know that like I'm not really mad. I'm just doing kind of a bit.
I didn't. I'm sorry. I ruined the moment.
No, you're fine.
No.
Okay.
Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer.
S.
I would agree to that.
S.
I agree with that.
This is
probably... Oh, go ahead.
This is the only one I didn't get to read. I don't think.
Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah, this one is. I would go back and read it. Right.
Yeah,
I
really will
good.
Eventually. We've got a physical copy. So
atmospheric. The writing's like tight. Everything fits. Like it's kind of in the same vein of Roadside, where it gets in, it says its message, and it gets out before it kind of gets too old.
Yeah, and it's also kind of the same vein of sci-fi, where it's not, an author trying to scientifically explain something that doesn't exist in our world. It is like, there's something about the world that is different in this setting, and here's how characters are coping with it.
I think I remember specifically mentioning I was excited to kind of compare the two once we got to Roadside.
I think you did. I forgot about that.
Me too.
But also, I actually just finished the rest of the Annihilation series just a couple weeks ago. Highly recommend it.
Even more Annihilation.
Yeah, so it's Annihilation, Authority, and then Acceptance.
Those are very cool names.
Honestly, I don't think everyone would love the whole series, but I recommend at least giving it a shot. I kind of stayed away from the sequels because I thought it was going to do that thing where it's like, oh, I'm going to write sequels, so now I'm going to explain things. It doesn't do that, and that's not a spoiler. You figure that out pretty quick, that you're not getting
explains
answers.
Even less.
Yeah, you're not getting answers from this. Kaden,
I ask more questions.
I really think you would like at least reading Authority, because the character who's narrating that one is super interesting, and I think it's a character that you would really like.
Let's go. I will add it to once I get some more credits, since I had to waste one on the book that shall not be named.
I'm sorry.
It's fine. I need to contact them to even get a refund.
But yeah, I don't know. The whole series is really good, but we only read the first one. I really liked the discussion we had with this one. Did we have feeB on this
Correct.
episode?
Indeed.
I believe she was.
Yeah, that's another thing. I just like feeB episodes.
They're few and far between. Devin episodes are fun too.
Yeah, that's for sure.
One or two.
I love Devin because he's here and he's like, so what happened? What is this book?
I read this book. I don't know what the fuck happened in it, but I read it.
All right, so S it is then.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
The general consensus is
yes.
S.
S. Yes. Good one. I get the joke now. Yeah, I got that one. Okay. I think Below Roadside Picnic too is correct.
So are you guys saying this is high and this is low? Right?
Yes.
That's how it works?
Yep.
Okay, I thought so. To be honest with you guys, I usually don't pay attention to that when I do tier lists. I just kind of throw things in.
I feel that.
It's not something like I make a big deal about, but it's something I try to keep like conscious. Like within rating things within the same sphere. Like 2 S tier books are not equally as good or equally as bad.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of books with S's, Star Wars Death Star.
Ooh, this one I'm gonna give a strong A. Like
I think so too. I didn't read it, but I have read it. I've read it like twice at least, and I think A is a solid choice.
I love Star Wars Expanded Universe stuff that goes more into like the day-to-day mundane shit.
It also makes the Empire look like bad guys.
Yeah. It equally, I like about it too is it shows that like the individual people of the Empire may not be awful, but like the Empire at large is fundamentally fucked.
Damn, I wonder if we could use that as an allegory to real life. Probably not though.
I want no.
I don't know.
I
think this is just fantasy.
For sure. Real shit. Yeah, Jordy,
This
you have
was
any?
this was also the only other one I didn't finish. In fact, I barely started this one because I had a really hard time getting into it.
Yeah, that's
But
fair.
And
I
the
sat,
constant swapping of
yeah, it was confusing, and I would have gotten used to it eventually, but even after hearing you and feeB discuss it in the episode, I was kind of overwhelmed. I'm like, there's
Mm-hmm.
like 12 characters, and
Yeah.
kind of just Star Wars expanded universe stuff. It's like, ah, yes, we have introduced 12 new characters, and they will each be getting their own book.
yeah, and it's not a bad thing, and it's not anyone's fault, but I definitely do not have a thing for Star Wars very much at all.
Based.
Like, I've seen the prequels and the original trilogy,
I love Star Wars.
and I have no
I
interest
hate
in anything
Star
else.
Wars.
You guys want to talk about Kyle Katarn?
Anyways, so we're putting this in A or B, do you think?
I think A's fine.
Yeah.
I could tell, even like I couldn't get into it, the writing was still good,
Mhm.
and sitting in and listening to feeB and Kaden talk about it was still interesting. I think it was good. I just not for me.
This is definitely also like one of the better Star Wars books. There's a lot of in the expanded universe. There's a lot of stinkers. There is a lot of stinkers, but this is one of the ones I would like. I would recommend like my mom, who is like a Baby Yoda clip for her ID badge. This is a
Baby Yoda's kind of okay.
I know, but I'm just saying that like she's a very casual
surface level.
Yeah, she's not like, and she's not gonna have a deep discussion about the intricacies of Mandalorian culture and lore. She's like, ah, yes, I like this helmet man and his child.
Helmet man.
Helmet man.
Speaking of men who wear helmets and little stinkers. Boom. Boom.
I think I'm kind of caught between B and A.
Yeah.
This is.
I don't know if I would put it in S, but I think probably closer to A.
Yeah, it's pretty high.
It also like it's a book that appeals to me specifically.
Yeah.
It's like, hello,
yeah.
This was written with my taste and interest in mind.
Yes,
the way I like
exactly.
characters to be written.
Yeah, and I enjoyed how it was basically just gooey Shakespearean.
Yeah.
It's literally it. It's serial killer, mass murder Shakespeare, and that's kind of my shit.
Yeah.
Mass murder demigod.
That said,
high sci-fi.
I do remember feeling that like the last half of the book there was just kind of like this huge gap in time that didn't need to be a gap in time. I felt like it was a bit strange. There was a couple jumps I thought weren't bad. It just kind of felt weird. It was a book that did kind of leave me wanting more, which isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Well, that's good because there's an entire black library.
True. And
it's also important to point out this is book 1 out of like 80 of the Horus Heresy.
Actually, I wonder, is it book 1 or is it?
Well, it's the first in the Night Lords trilogy, but I don't know where that is in the greater scheme of the Horus Heresy.
Yeah, good thing it left me wanting more, but also kind of sad thing that it left me wanting more. Another thing, like, Warhammer lore is interesting, and I mean, spoiler alert, we might be reading more next year. But I mean, I'm still interested in reading the books, but I'm not necessarily interested in diving super deep into this lore. So I guess that's why it was disappointing to me, because I wanted this to be a little more contained.
Number one.
I think A is pretty good.
It is definitely a series, and more importantly, a book that is like, if you do not know the setting or the world, fuck you, we're not going to explain shit.
Yeah. Conrad's a wacky little dude, and
he's just quirked up.
He's just quirked up on a Tuesday afternoon, to be sure.
Goated with the sauce,
Sexual
the sauce
style.
is human blood.
It is.
As he's goated with the sauce as he's monologuing about the misfortunes of his birth while skinning someone alive.
Consuming the organs of his children. All right. You know what else has nothing to do with any of the things we just said?
Hey, what's up?
The Hobbit by J.R.R.
We're taking the Hobbit
Tolkien.
to Isengard.
To Isengard?
To Isengard.
The Hobbits, the Hobbits, the Hobbits, the Hobbits to Isengard. All right.
I mean, it's an S.
Is it an S?
I'd say it's an S. I felt I'm not a big like Lord of the Rings guy, and I felt very strongly about this one.
Jordy, what do you think?
I think.
Because I would say A.
Really?
Yeah, I think in terms of like literature and importance, like this is
It's a
classic.
cultural S.
Yeah, it is a cultural S. I think it's important to read at least once in your life, and if you like it once, I think it's important to read multiple times in your life. I think this is one you gotta pick up every few years. But there is like, this was my second time reading this book, I believe, and there was a few times in the middle of it where I was like, this isn't as good as I remembered it to be.
It's also interesting because this is like, I started The Hobbit way long ago when I was a kid and never finished it, and so this is the first time I've actually finished The Hobbit. And like, I was fucking stoked. I was having a great time. I was like, oh man, Gandalf is gonna do some wacky, crazy shit.
Yeah, I think this book is S if it's the first time you've read it.
Yeah, for sure. I'd agree to that.
That's not a bad thing. I think an A book is still a good book.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've been happy with A, but just personally, it's a pretty strong S in my opinion. But I'm equally happy with an A.
We can put it in S. I think it's important.
That's true.
Good piece of literature.
Maybe we'll meet in the middle and kind of do like high A, low S.
Yeah. Well, if we need to adjust later, we can.
Yeah, we'll just do this, and then we can rearrange if we want to. All right. Oh boy is right.
I was waiting for this one.
In fact, 2 boys. I'm thinking C.
2 boys. C, really?
D.
Ooh.
And this is someone who does like our funny YouTube men.
Our boys.
I think when it hit, but when it missed, it missed.
It missed. The problem I have with though is it missed a lot. I think it had some good bits, but it was a lot of bad bits.
I think it was like a 45% hit, 55% miss. Which, considering this is kind of their first time writing a book, and I don't think they had an editor or any sort of beta reader.
It was Matt's sister. Because I want to say that's what she does, is she's an editor.
I thought she worked at a bank or something. Either way.
She's married to some soccer player. I don't know.
I heard she's really hot.
Yeah, I've seen her in person.
Any argument I could make for higher than C is just me giving it the benefit, because I'm like, I am excited to see what would come after this.
Kaden only wants to put it lower because of its homophobia.
I mean, a lot of people die in it. I'm pretty against that.
The part where they murdered a Russian village who gave them what little they had, that pissed me off. That one genuinely, like, thinking back on it, pissed me off. Like, I'm still mad about that. Like literally thinking about it right now is getting me heated again.
Yeah, that one. And
they didn't know what they were doing.
That's not an excuse.
The Japanese fisherman, that one pissed me off a little bit too. I think that's the thing, is that I think if you remove those 2 scenes from the book, I would be happy to argue with you guys and put it in B. But it's like...
Oh no, I said C or D.
Well, no, I mean, I would argue...
Oh, gotcha. I follow.
Yeah. It's just... It was just strangely violent in a way that, like, bothered me. And I don't know why. I don't know why this silly little YouTuber book was, like, the one thing... Like, one of the few things that we read this year that got a genuine emotional reaction from me.
But not a positive one.
Yeah, not a positive one. But it's also, I don't know. I maintain that this one is okay because it makes me excited to see what they might come up with next.
I'm excited for the next one.
Oh yeah.
They will probably disappoint me.
I'm ready to get hurt again.
Well, and I think that was the intent, right? They wanted to disappoint me, and they succeeded.
It's one of those hate. But what's the term? It's like whenever you
like when you hate watch something.
Yeah, hate watching.
Well, and also it is. I can like so clearly see in my head, hey, wouldn't it be funny if we like killed a bunch of people in this book, like in a terrible way, and we still got on the bestsellers list with this book?
And that's from from listening to the podcast while they were writing it. That's exactly was like the process. They were like, well, let's write the worst book we can, and then just via the sheer amount of fans we have, end up on bestsellers.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like, I get that. Like, as far as that, like, I don't have much of a problem with that. I think it's funny as hell, actually. But
the content.
Yeah, my own personal subjective opinion. So I took issue.
I will say, if we're taking away everything else, if we had just a tier list based on covers alone, this one is like triple S.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I love this cover so much. But yeah, I think D or C. I'm okay with either of those. You guys can pick.
See, I think at least I think C.
Yeah, C, because Yakuza Williams is in it.
Shit, Yakuza Williams was good. That's fair. I didn't stop to consider Yakuza Williams.
And like it elicited an emotional response, which was its goal. So
yeah,
one can make the argument is in fact art.
Yes, exactly.
I kind of forgot this. I read this book before I was even like a super mega fan.
That's true.
I am now a
newly minted, fresh on the blockchain.
Newly minted super mega fan. So I might actually go back and reread this one and see if that makes me feel nicer towards it. Yeah. I really doubt it. I might enjoy the shower scenes a bit more, but that's probably about it.
The shower scenes were a highlight. Like that shit was like 10 out of 10.
David Jones.
Not a single complaint. Yeah.
It killed me when they were in France and they like put the name of the shampoo
in French.
They're so stupid.
Speaking of shower scenes,
like those are the jokes I think really sold the book, was the dumb shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then they would like murder someone gratuitously or like kill an innocent and then be dicks about it. And I'm like,
Speaking of homoerotic shower scenes, next up is Chuck's Dinosaur Tinglers Volume 1.
F.
Well, I was gonna say at least D.
Yeah,
nah, this is the latent homophobia wording really skeeved me out.
Yeah,
thinking back, it's something I thought about like after it. I'm like, this is
really.
It made me feel objectively worse.
Made me kind of feel achy, kind of thinking about it afterwards.
Well, granted, these particular dinosaur tinglers, I believe they were some of the first ones that Mr. Chuck wrote. So I felt a little bit nicer about it. Not to say that it was...
I also want to say that there was only like one of the stories that I was actually all that interested in. If I remember correctly.
I feel like these aren't stories you just read right in a row.
Yeah.
I feel like you read them one at a time, isolated from each other, and you feel better about them. I did expect it to. I expected it to be funnier.
Yeah, that's another big thing. It wasn't.
It's like, where's the funny? It's just homophobic or homophobia stereotypes.
One just like, oh, what's the word? It was just porn. Like it.
Yeah, yeah.
It sounds stupid when I say it like that.
No, you're right though.
It was just like if we decided to just open up Pornhub right now and watch the first video on the front page. Yeah. Like that's kind of what it felt like, and not even in like a
fun way.
And not even in a fun way. And that's nothing against Mr. Tingle. He's a strange man. He's a strange man.
I do wonder how much of it. I wonder how much of that is like a persona and how much of that is him. I think we looked into it a little bit whenever we read it. I just don't recall.
Yeah, some of the stuff on the Wikipedia page for him was a little troubling. I didn't really like reading it, but then like I see him, like his actual social media, and I see some of the things he posts on there, and I'm just kind of like, oh, maybe he's just a little weird, you know. I don't know. I feel complicated about him.
He definitely, from his social media, he kind of just vibes.
Yeah. And he's also, I think he's putting out like a horror novel soon or something. I'm pretty sure I saw that on Tumblr the other day. He's doing something soon. And I was just kind of like, hey, actually, that sounds kind of interesting.
Hey, that's pretty good.
So, F.
Yeah, I'm pretty. If you guys want to like bring it up a little bit, that's fine. But I'm pretty strong on it.
I
Yeah,
think I
F's
can
fine.
agree to that.
Chuck Tingle actually just immediately jumped up in my book because I pulled up the wiki again. It says in 2022, Tingle purchased the domain governorabbott.com and used it to protest Texas Governor Greg Abbott's policies impacting transgender individuals.
We can put that in D then.
Yeah, that definitely like brings it up a little bit. Yeah.
Fuck Greg Abbott.
Fuck Greg Abbott and pro trans. Like that.
Yeah, that can go to D. All right. Speaking of Twitter and Tumblr and Wikipedia, in February it was because internet, understanding the new rules of language. I think
Give this one a
I think
C.
yeah, I was gonna say either B or C for me.
It was fine.
I guess we should ask like our enjoyment of it, or how well written it was.
Because I think this was for an older person, if that makes sense. Like
at no point did I hate it, but it was just like I just got bored.
Yeah, I didn't really get anything out of reading it.
It was
not to say that it was bad. Yeah,
it just wasn't new information, and I kind of expected it to be new information.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the etymology of it was interesting. Like,
yeah, that was cool.
I think all of us are. I mean, we still grew up with the internet, but there is still some facets of it that we didn't get to experience.
Yeah,
like how most of early internet was straight up just forums.
Yeah,
and there's some historical stuff in there about that I thought was interesting, but that's not really what the book
was Jordy,
about.
You did spend a lot of time on the brain cells forums.
The brain cells forums? I don't even know what that is.
Don't worry about it.
It's an incel form.
No, well, it's like incel, but it's different. But I digress.
But
I mean, walks like a duck, talks like a duck.
Yeah, exactly.
The stuff I was interested in from this book was stuff that the book wasn't about. It did make me interested in looking up more about similar topics, but the book itself, well written, good, not for me.
Mm-hmm.
I was literally about to say is like the things I enjoyed about the book is not what the book was about. It was just the tangents and anecdotes about language and etymology.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's well written, so I would put it in B, but personal enjoyment, like I agree, C.
I think C is.
I feel like C is it was fine.
I think maybe B then, because like this would give information to someone. This was for someone, just not me. Know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel that.
Unless Kaden, you have anything else you wanna?
I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, like you said, if it was recommending this to a parent or a grandparent,
exactly, exactly,
they'd get a lot more out of it.
And exactly. I don't even got nothing for this next one.
A.
Gay.
A for gay.
A for gay. A for gay. This book as a fledgling Baidu definitely helped a lot with my own understanding my own sexuality and such.
I was about to say, I think upon like right when we finished this book, I was kind of scared, and some of the content did bother me a little bit, but I'm still thinking about this book. Like every few weeks, I kind of think about it sometimes because she makes a point in the conclusion. Like she says something basically to the effect of maybe being gay is not exactly a choice, but there is still like an element of choice to it, and the element of choice is like embroiling yourself in the culture that has been created. And I think about that all the time, man. I really
it's
do.
Definitely, like having my own personal experiences, like growing up in South conservative white Texas and like homophobia and all that jazz. I still get like anxious about being openly into dudes because of just like the mass amount of church and like all the things like being gay is bad, and I feel like guilty about it sometimes. And so it is interesting to kind of get those, like I didn't have the language for that whenever I started reading the book, but having read the book, it's like, oh this makes sense to what I'm going through and the issues I'm having.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's always a definite like dub for the author.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think any downsides to this book, I mean, of course it was an academic essay, so it has to be a bit narrow in its scope. So it even says in the title, sex between straight white men. And the author acknowledges that there is different subcultures and different meanings to sex between men of,
Color or
men of color, literally just about anything else outside of straight white men. She acknowledges that in the book, but it did kind of leave me wanting to know more about that, and that's something that I need to do the research on my own and find this stuff out.
and I'm wondering how much of that was also like if that's something she didn't want to go into. I don't know.
Or like, I mean, research is also like, this book took her a fucking eon to make, and it was about a very small subset of dudes, let alone like different subcultures and different cultural identities and like religious influence, like all the other factors, because like it's a complex topic, and this book is a very small slice of a very big topic.
And it was still very interesting too. Like the thing that kind of weighed down evolution and religion does not weigh this one down, because it is a cultural examination, and we don't really necessarily need to be academics to understand what's being said here. I mean, it helps, but I don't know, this was pretty, maybe not easy to get into, but easy to understand as someone who's been away from academics for a while. There's a lot of it that I still think about all the time, good and bad. Like a lot of the hazing that's described in this book still kind of bothers me a lot. It's just kind of, it's depressing to think about. But on the other hand, there's a whole section about Craigslist ads, and maybe they shouldn't be funny to me, but they're a little funny. They're a little funny. I just love the idea of, being a dude, being a little hard in the evening and typing up on Craigslist. Man, where are all the boys at who just jerk off?
We them boys.
Where's the men that jerk off while watching football? I
together.
That's definitely never one I've never really understood, but I hope they're happy.
It's fascinating. It's so fascinating, and it is funny, but it is also just like they're like a real person typed that. That's not like Craigslist wasn't built for people to troll on.
They actually took away the personals a while back. I remember people were complaining about it.
Yeah. So I think this one, if you're not comfortable with S, we should put it in A.
A or S, I'm pretty happy with either or.
What do you two want?
Well, what do you think, Ryan?
I think A is fine.
Me and Kaden have like a sexuality attachment to this book, admittedly.
I think in that case, S would be.
Well, what do you think? You haven't really said your thoughts.
I don't know. I think you guys are right.
Damn. All right.
Yeah, I don't really have a position to speak on any of this. I don't think.
Still, but your honest thoughts are still valid within like the okay, maybe not even like on the topical essence of it, but just on the literary like. What
I think objective S works fine.
It makes me think the subjective answer is different.
No, I don't. Right. I don't have any. No, there's nothing wrong with it. No. No. Yeah, I didn't see anything wrong with it. I don't see anything that would drag it lower than S. I think your individual reactions to it are important. Like that adds like value to it, if that makes sense.
Credence.
Yeah. Even though I didn't get anything out of it, clearly you two and other people have, so that makes it worth putting it high.
My more direct question would be then, like, what about like your interest in the topic? As she talked about it.
That's an interesting question because I think I've had myself figured out for a while now, if that makes sense. And I'm not one to be pressured into things as well. So like some of the like hazing stuff you guys talked about was shocking, and like I think the idea like, oh, it's more of a cultural thing, that was interesting. That makes sense. That's really more of how I felt. Like she would explain something and I'd be like, oh yeah, that makes sense, and I just keep moving on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you.
But as far as any revelations go, like, you know, I had that dream where I stared down the one-eyed snake and I said I'm good. So from that aspect, do you guys want to know about the dream?
I think I remember you telling us about this.
I don't recall, but I would like to hear it again.
So basically, I was like hanging out with this dude, and we were about to bang, and then I was like, he gets his pants off, and I'm like, you know what? I'm good actually. Bye, and then I just leave him, and then I wake up in the dream, and then I wake up, and I'm like, huh? Well, that explains a lot, and I just go back to sleep.
Questions answered.
Yep, it's like I always say, you gotta stare down the one-eyed snake to know for sure. But yeah, I think with y'all's reactions to it, I think S is an appropriate place to put it.
I'm pretty happy with S.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up, but slayily.
Slay.
Slay?
Yeah, this
Slay
tier
queen.
list is pretty slay.
Yes.
Can I pay in slay? Alright. So do you guys want to rearrange this tier list at all?
I'm honestly
move
like,
anything up or down, move anything horizontally.
I think if I would touch anything, I might say that, well, I guess definitely, I think Conrad Kurz should probably go between Carrie and Neuromancer.
Okay.
I agree with that.
And then personally, I think I might bump Dark Alliance and Death Star down to B.
Kaden?
But I'm open to being rejected on that one.
I think Death Star can go to B. I think Dark Alliance maybe has cultural significance, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I was trying to find the words for it, but like I feel like Dark Alliance has enough there, like there's enough meat, or I would keep it an A, but B is fine. Like I mean, it's B. Star Wars book is very much like, this is a Star Wars book. We are having a good time.
Now, where would you put Death Star in terms of this listing right here? At the front?
I think above, because internet at least, but yeah, the front's fine.
I would say at the front, like pretty handedly above.
We're gonna move Evolution and Religion to F because Greg Graffin never debated us live on Instagram.
His book was good.
He never debated me on Instagram live, so
His cowardice knows no bounds.
Yeah, anything else we want to move around?
I'm pretty comfortable with everything as is. Like, I really...
And that's a pretty... I'll say it. That's a pretty nicely distributed
Yeah, I agree.
list.
Indeed.
I think the fact that the majority of what we read was objectively good. Objectively? Subjectively? We all thought most of what we read was pretty good and worth our time.
I mean, 4 out of 12 being below B is a pretty good ratio.
Yeah.
Well, hold on.
I think it's 16.
Yeah, 16. So yeah, 12 out of 16 were bangers, basically.
And Super Mega's book I was gonna read anyway.
When we didn't hate it,
yeah,
we just didn't love it.
Yeah.
No, I hate it.
Oh no, Kaden, your microphone died.
No, not again.
Okay, you're back.
They sent their Super Mega sent their hitman after me.
Yeah.
Justin himself.
They sent I was gonna say Jim.
Oh shit. Justin and Jim unplugged their microphone at the same time together.
No, I just my internet just randomly cuts out sometimes.
Send Jim in case Justin gets a little too out of control.
Yeah.
Hopefully our book list for next year is even better than this one. or worse. I don't know. Maybe content wise it'll be worse, and that'll be a good thing.
We did kind of like put out a book suggestion for January, and we were kind of specifically like, yeah, let's pick this book because we might hate it.
Yeah.
And then, I got flash. I can only describe it as I got fucking flashbanged.
Well, that's not even the one I'm talking about.
Yeah. The current one.
After that.
Oh yeah.
We picked I'll say, well, we can sprinkle little spoilers. We picked a book talk book, which is a book that people who read on TikTok have been suggesting like crazy on TikTok. We picked one of those, kind of with the intent that we probably won't like it. It'd be cool to be wrong, but I have a feeling.
Yep. Which is kind of the point of picking it.
Yeah.
All right. Is there anything else anyone has to say?
Drink all your Ovaltine.
Ovaltine? Do they even make that shit anymore?
Okay, fine. I don't even know what it is. I just know it's from a Christmas Story.
It's like Nesquik.
Chocolate milk.
Yeah.
They do make it.
Cool.
Okay.
Discord closing down.
Yeah.
That kind of hurt my feelings a little bit. I don't know why.
Good.
Okay.
Hopefully the new I assume this is gonna. I don't know when this is gonna go up. So if the new book list is up before this, be sure to check it out so you can follow along next year. If it's not up, then be sure to keep your eyes peeled, not literally for it, so that you can follow along next year. Don't forget to do the YouTube things. My Twitter is at RyRyinRed. Do you guys want to share anything?
Nope. My Twitter is at Bookkeeper Hal. And that's it. That's all I got to plug.
Whoa! Don't forget
I think I have a link tree actually on my profile.
That's a good idea.
Some of my other things linked to it.
I should put together one of those.
Super easy.
Yeah. Don't forget, in the description, there's going to be a link to our Discord where you can join and we can talk about the books for next year or even the books for 2022. You know,
I can tell you your objectives, your opinions are wrong, and I'm right.
Feel free to make your own tier list of the books we read this year. Don't worry about posting them for us, because I'm not really going to answer you if you do. I guess that's it.
Yeah.